Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
On Global 99.5, your host, Michelle Malcolm. And as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. It's Monday, which means that this is going to be all about the Constitution of the Bahamas today, as we do every Monday around these parts. We have our resident professor, Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, who's back, and he's going to help us to make our way through this maze that is known as the Constitution of the Bahamas. Now, obviously, if you have a question or a comment, you are certainly welcome to go ahead and give us a ring. And how do you do that? Well, the numbers to call are 326-0271. That's 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line is 801-0271. That's 801-0271 for WhatsApp calls and messages. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and the Global 99.5 FM pages, also streaming live on rumble.com. And I will double check that at some point during the show just to make sure, because, I'm a little new to Rumble, so I will make sure I do that right. Rumble.com, just search for the Global Paradigm Shift channel. That's all one word, no spaces in between. Global Paradigm Shift. And you should be able to find the channel that way. And I'm going to check in a moment. I believe we are streaming live there, but I'm going to check that in a moment. We're also coming to you on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. That's Cable Bahamas 974. And you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. Last but by no means least, welcome to all of you out there in Radio Land who are tuned in, whether it's here in New Providence, that would be on Global 99.5 FM, whether it's Grand Bahama. Those of you who are tuned in from that island, I understand that We have quite a bit of a following on the Grand Bahama. So welcome to all of you there. And I'm just trying to make sure we are actually live. Okay, I think we should be on Rumble. And those of you who are tuned in from around the country and around the world, a huge welcome to you all. Okay, so let's get Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the screen. There he is. Now the camera is not quite set up properly. Jason, you want to come fix that, please? Need that more center on the professor so we can see his handsome face. There you go. Professor, you know, you got some single ladies out there.
Oh, yeah?
They want to see that face. How was the weekend?
Very good, very good.
You had a good one?
Yeah, I prepared very well for the show today.
Uh-oh. This sounds like this could be hot.
Yes.
Well.
I made sure I shut off all the radio, no distraction.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to make sure I get it accurate and precise.
Okay.
And so, you know, preparation sometimes it really takes a lot out of you.
Right.
And when it comes to the Constitution, I take it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did say, I heard some remarks made by the Prime Minister, and I called into the show on Friday, and I told him I will deal with it today.
Okay.
Because I believe that there's too much misinformation by persons who have been given authority to run this place.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently there seemed to be a lot of misunderstanding. I'll use the word misunderstanding because I want to be as polite as I possibly can be.
Politically correct.
Well, let's just say that, you know, things need to be dealt with very seriously because it's affecting the country badly.
Right.
The way how our leaders run the country has a tremendous impact on the welfare of its people.
True.
If they do not understand the importance of the Constitution, and the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, if they don't get it right, then we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
We're in serious trouble, and the country is in deep trouble as it is now. And so it's important that we help our leaders to see it correctly, the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we need more people who will simply do that and be honest and upfront with them and tell them when they're wrong and tell them when they're right. But in this case, some misinformation, serious misinformation, was said on the air on Friday, and I said I will deal with it today.
Okay, remind our audience what was actually said that was so erroneous.
Well, the way how the Prime Minister made the remark, and you could play the tape, but you played on Friday. Because the thing is that, you know, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and he has a right to his view.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with that. But it is important that the government of the Bahamas get it right. The exact same comments that he made on Friday is what I'd like you to play.
You know what? I took them out of the stream, but just, and I'll find them.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
Yeah, but the thing is that the government of the Bahamas has a responsibility to assist its citizens. In other words, the Constitution talks about national commitment to do some specific things. The government of the Bahamas has never done that over the last 50 years. Never, ever done it.
Mm-hmm.
A national commitment to self-discipline, a national commitment to the rule of law. The Privy Council has made certain rulings. The government has not adhered to those rulings. And it's important that the Bahamian people put pressure on the government of the Bahamas to make sure that the government of the Bahamas adhere to the law.
Mm-hmm.
They will tell you we're a nation of laws, but are you adhering to the law? Are you adhering to the rulings of the Privy Council? When it comes to the law, the supreme law of the land. Now, when you violate the supreme law of the land, that is serious business.
Mm-hmm.
It must not be taken lightly. There's nothing personal. It's just that they got the thing wrong.
Okay.
It's just that simple. And so it is my duty, since I know better than most people, I have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And Article 6 is a straightforward constitutional message, which has been misunderstood by the government of Bahamas for more than half a century. They've never gotten it right. And up to this day, as I speak to you now, October 30th, they still don't have it right. And that's sad. The Attorney General is the person to give advice to the government of the Bahamas. The Constitution says the Attorney General is the chief legal advisor to the government. Fine. Well, what has happened over the last 50 years? Somebody has been given bad information, bad advice. Because even when the Supreme Court made a ruling and the Appeals Court made a ruling, the government of Bahamas still refused to budge. Then it went all the way to the Privy Council. And they've not dealt with it yet. Okay? So you have to ask yourself, well then, what are we electing a government to do? When a government ignores the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we have to take that very seriously. And the Bahamian people have to deal with such a government. And we have that problem right in our lap today. We have to deal with that. And it will be dealt with. You could be assured of that. It will be dealt with. Because it's a very serious matter. The very future of the lives of the Bahamian people are at stake. Are we going to wait until it gets like the way it's in Sudan or in Haiti or in Israel and Hamas? Is we want it that way? Is that what we want? Because we have a record, in spite of the difficulties we have in this country, we have a record of peaceful transition from one administration to the next. That has nothing to do with the political parties of the country. Nothing to do with them. They exist. But there are other alternative reasons as to why we've had this peaceful transition from one administration to the next. The record is clear on that. It has nothing to do with the government of the Bahamas because they are violating the very supreme law that allows them to govern peacefully. It's just that the Bahamian people have taken a different approach when it comes to peaceful, democratic elections in this country.
So the clip that you were talking about that the Prime Minister
the same remarks he said on Friday.
What was he talking about
He was
specifically?
talking about the Constitution in relation to Article 6. And
That's to do with immigration, or?
It has to do with the ruling made by the Privy Council.
Okay.
In relation to Article 6, which is one clear sentence that the government has never gotten straight.
I'm asking because I'm trying to find, as you speak, the correct.
Article 6.
No, I'm just trying to find the correct video with the Prime Minister. I have lots of videos on my device.
But the one you played on Friday.
Well, I just don't remember what I played on Friday.
Yeah, okay.
That's the point. So I'm trying to upload whatever I can find with the Prime Minister and see if that's the one that you're talking about. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. And then after the break, during the break, I'll play these couple of clips that I have with the Prime Minister, see if one of them is what Professor is referring to. And then
I'll know it when I hear it.
Yeah, and then we're going to have him break that down for us on the other side. So stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, along with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. We're also coming to you live on rumble.com. Just search for the Global Paradigm Shift channel. That's all one word, Global Paradigm Shift. And you should be able to watch us there on Rumble. We're also coming to you on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. And you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and follow us there. The numbers to call are 3260271. 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 801-0271. And of course, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. Okay, so Professor Thompson is here every Monday. We do a masterclass on the Constitution, and I believe I have found the correct clip that Professor is referring to. So I want to go ahead and play that. Is the port open? Okay, so I'll go ahead and... Boy, Professor, you got to turn that down. That thing ringing loud. Okay, so let me go ahead and play the clip that I believe is the one that you're referring to, and then we can have you comment on it. So here goes the clip with the Prime Minister. I believe
Topping news tonight, months after a landmark Privy Council ruling that children born out of wedlock in the Bahamas to Bahamian fathers and foreign mothers, Prime Minister Philip Davis asserting that government is on a mission to eradicate other forms of inequalities that may exist in the country's citizenship laws. The issue of citizenship equality remains a topical one as the Davis administration's promise to introduce legislation to allow Bahamian men and women to pass on citizenships in all circumstances has yet to be fulfilled. This prompting officials, including Chief Justice Ian Winder and former Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson, to call on government to take action.
A recent Privy Council ruling on nationality affirmed that a child born out of wedlock in the Bahamas, in a situation in which the father was a Bahamian and the mother a foreign national, was a citizen of the Bahamas at birth. With these hierarchies of citizenship rights removed, legislative and policy reforms have been initiated to eliminate inequality in the transmission of citizenship, while addressing other citizenship issues, including granting of citizenship to children born abroad to married Bahamian women and their foreign husbands. We hope to seek, as I said, to initiate efforts to eliminate these inequalities that presently exist.
Okay, Professor. That's the clip you're talking about, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, so what?
There's a lot of misinformation in what he said.
Okay, explain.
For example, foreign women, Bahamian women married to foreign men, that's a totally different situation altogether from the Bahamian single man and the Bahamian single woman. You don't get that mixed up.
Yeah.
Two different things entirely.
Okay.
Okay, so the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas is very specific and very clear as to how we're to deal with such things. Now, the Bahamian father who has children with foreign women who are non-Bahamians, born in the Bahamas, the Constitution said from day one, the Privy Council didn't make any new ruling. No such thing happened. All the Privy Council told them to do, follow Article 6. Just as it stated there, that's how it was from day one. There has been no change to it. The Privy Council made no change to it. Now, when he started talking about the Bahamian married woman who is married to a stranger, foreign, and have children outside the Bahamas, with them, that's a whole lot of different color. The Constitution is specifically clear as to how that is to be dealt with. So you don't get it all mixed up with the single fathers and the single mothers.
So
two different things.
So you're saying that he's confusing the two? What I heard from him, or what I got from what he was saying, is that in the same way that the ruling was made in favor of the single father, the single Bahamian father who had a child with a foreigner within the Bahamas, that we now need to look at fixing the issue, if you want to call it that.
There is no fixing, Ms. Malcolm, none whatsoever. The Constitution is specifically clear as to how that issue is to be dealt with by a referendum, if you want to change anything.
Right.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
With the single father, you don't need a referendum for that because the Constitution already stated from birth.
Right.
Okay, that the child is Bahamian. Now, they got it wrong for 50 years plus because they didn't even understand the law. Whatever advice was given to the government of the Bahamas got it wrong for 50 long years. That's the harsh reality we need to face.
Okay.
Okay? So the point is, don't get it mixed up with any Bahamian woman married to a foreigner and she have children for them.
So is your issue that he didn't mention that we would have to do so through a referendum?
He did not mention any. You hear anything about any referendum?
No, he
Okay,
just
then.
said finding the means to.
But there is the means already there in the Constitution, Ms. Malcolm.
Right.
So what is he talking about? It's already in the Constitution. How to deal with that. because that child being born is a citizen of a foreign country. And he can qualify for citizenship after a period of time, because Article 9 is very specific, very clear on that. But the Bahamian woman, there are no inequalities in the Constitution. No such thing. The Supreme Law has no inequalities in it. You may not agree with it, you may not like it, but then that's your personal thing. There's no discriminatory practices in the Constitution. No such thing as the law being discriminatory. But that's what he say. That's his view. But the Constitution cannot discriminate. You know why it cannot discriminate? Because it's the supreme law of the land. Just like the Holy Bible cannot discriminate. Either you agree with it or you disagree with it. Now, if there are changes to be made in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Constitution has Article 54.1, which tells you how to deal with articles in the Constitution that need to be changed.
54.1.
Okay? And all those citizenship articles can only be changed by a referendum. It's just as simple as that.
Okay.
There's no such thing as having no ordinary legislation passed in the House of Assembly. That's utter nonsense and foolishness.
Okay.
So I'm saying to you, he has it all mixed up when he mentioned about the Bahamian woman who is married to a foreigner, the married Bahamian woman, and having children. That's a totally different kettle of fish altogether. Don't mix that up with the single fathers and single mothers. Two different things entirely. The problem with the government of the Bahamas is it has a lot of things all mixed up when it comes to the Constitution. See, the thing is, if you don't read it correctly, you don't understand it, you will get it all mixed up.
Okay, I have 54.1 in front of me of the Constitution. It says, subject to the provisions of this article, Parliament may, by an act of Parliament passed by both houses, alter any of the provisions of this Constitution, or, insofar as it forms part of the law of the Bahamas, any of the provisions of the Bahamas Independence Act 1973, insofar as it alters, and then it goes on to mention the many articles that can be altered. 32, 33, 34, 35, 41, 42, 43, 47, 48, 49, 79, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121. Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm just simply saying to you, most of the articles, the vast majority of them, can only be altered by a referendum. That's it. The government has to come to that harsh reality. His own Attorney General said, take him to court. He doesn't care. So the thing is that you have a government that is operating in this country that doesn't follow the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That has to be taken very seriously. Anyone you elect to run your national affairs who would deliberately defy a ruling from the Privy Council and do your own thing, is that what you're going to do? Or violate the articles in the Constitution itself when the Constitution specifically says how you to deal with it? Something's wrong with that. Seriously wrong with it. I take exception to that. Because you're not constitutionally sound. So the advice he has been getting is not constitutionally sound. Whoever give it to him. But according to the Constitution, his chief legal advisor is the Attorney General. So what have they been doing for 50 years? The Supreme Court says that's the law, follow the law. All the Privy Council told them to do is follow Article 6. There was no change in it whatsoever. It was there all the time. There was no new ruling. They never made any new ruling. Just as it is, Article 6, they say follow the law.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Professor.
No, I know what the law says. I know what the Constitution says. I could stand on that. See, I tell people all the time, if you stand on the Constitution, you will never, ever be wrong. You will always be right.
I am looking at an article that appears in the Guardian.
Yes.
Talking about what the Attorney General has had to say with regard to
Article 6.
Okay, let me just read it. It says, Attorney General Ryan Pinter said yesterday protocols are being finalized for the Passport Office on how to proceed with applications from individuals impacted by a recent Privy Council ruling that under Article 6 of the Bahamas Constitution, all children born in the Bahamas out of wedlock to a Bahamian father and a foreign mother are Bahamians at birth.
Yes.
Pinder indicated that what now needs to be finalized is proof of paternity in matters where the father's name is not on the birth certificate. He indicated that for individuals whose father's name is on their birth certificate, the Passport Office is free to begin processing their applications.
Now,
for
right there,
passports.
that's the problem. That's the problem. You're looking at 50 years.
Okay.
Any name could be inserted on his birth certificate, say that's the daddy. Ain't no true. I've had people come to me with that foolishness, Miss Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Being a justice of the peace, and I tell them, no, I can't go along with that.
So it's not foolproof.
It is not foolproof.
It's because
We
anybody
have to
could
be
sign for a
sure.
child.
Yes, we have to be sure. See, what applies in Article 6 applies to both the father and the mother,
Mm-hmm.
where the mother and the father are Bahamian, or one of them is Bahamian, and they have children with foreigners. But the children are born, notice now, in the Bahamas, not children outside the Bahamas.
So you're saying Article 6 covers either the mother or the father?
Right. Now, how did they deal with the mothers? Because you'll see where, if you read further down the article, you'll see what Keith Bell had to say. But I'll let you read it. So the
Which article you want me to read?
The same one
now?
that you got in your hand.
Oh, the one, the Guardian?
No, you'll come to it.
Okay.
You keep reading. But all I'm saying is right there and then, that's why I said, well, I had to make a comment on that one. Because that is not correct. You cannot, you're going to have the same crappy foolishness going on because it says the father must be a Bahamian citizen at the birth of the child.
Right.
So you got to understand this thing. It's very specific and very clear. The problem with the government of Bahamas is it's not paying specific attention to what the supreme law says. Because the minute you say it wrong, the wrong way, you get it wrong.
Okay.
You see, so that's what confuses a lot of people. And I tell them, it doesn't matter who says what. It's what the Constitution says. The Constitution is supreme, not the word of a particular personality. And let me add that it has nothing to do with how smart a person may be or what kind of degrees they have behind the name. That means nothing to the woman in Baintown who got them 6 boys. The man in Fox who got 6 daughters. He's trying to find husbands for them, but he can't find them. Huh? Does that mean anything to him? No, it doesn't. What you do in the office that you hold, that is what is important. What I say on this radio station that is constitutionally sound, that is what is important to the Bahamian people. I don't want to come here talking crap. That can't help the Bahamian people. Either it is constitutionally sound, yes or no. Don't get it mixed up. There are specific things mentioned in the Constitution and time limits are there.
Mm.
You know, I went through this,
Right.
But look like some people can't understand. That's why I said I would speak to it today. Because we went to great lengths. And there's nothing in the Constitution that says Bahamian women having children anywhere all over the world are Bahamians. It's not there.
Well, I mean, we know that to be the case, that it's not.
But it's not true. I've heard that crap before.
No, I'm agreeing with you. We all know that that is not a part of the Constitution. And this is why the debate is whether or not we should do whatever it takes, like you say, that is a referendum to change that.
Well, that's the only way you can deal with it legally.
Mm-hmm.
If the government does anything otherwise than a referendum, they're unlawful. And you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to obey them. You know, when the government becomes unlawful, you don't have to obey that government, you know. Because the government is acting unconstitutional. I have no allegiance to a government that is unconstitutionally sound. None. They can't compel me to do anything. I'll listen to you if you are constitutionally sound.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, you have no legal authority. And you know we're going through a piece of legislation right now. Of course, we got interrupted so many times.
Yeah.
July the 5th, I think, when they passed this
Nationality
Act,
mm-hmm.
to be enforced for July the 10th. And it purports to make amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. The Constitution came into effect July the 10th. The Constitution tells you if there are going to be any amendments to the Constitution, what you need to do. You can't have a statute law.
Okay. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle, how you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Great, you know. Professor, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. But I am upset because of the misinformation that the Prime Minister gave to the Bahamian people.
Yeah.
That really upsets me.
No, I know. But people like me and you, we going to keep the Bahamian people focused. We going to stay calm because we got them running. Let me tell you why, Michelle. The Prime Minister is a stranger to the truth. So is Fred Mitchell.
Be careful how you say
He's
things.
a stranger. You used that in court. I never called him a liar. He's a stranger to the truth. I could prove it. That's a legal argument you can make. they use that in court. He's a stranger to the truth. And I stand by that.
Go ahead.
That's my words, not Michelle Malcolm. No,
yeah, but you're saying it on Michelle Malcolm's show.
Yo, but that's my disclaimer. This is a call-in talk show. On Article 22 of the Constitution, I have freedom of conscience. 23, I have freedom of speech. 24, I have freedom of association. And 25, I have freedom of movement. All right? That's what the Constitution says. Anyhow, let's carry on.
Go ahead.
Article 6 of the Constitution that the Privy Council made a ruling on has nothing to do with what they're trying to do. They're confusing Article 6 with Article 9, like the professor said.
Mm-hmm.
What the Privy Council said was that the policy that the government had for 50 years was wrong, not the Constitution.
Right.
The Constitution was never wrong. Now, here's where Fred Mitchell is out of order. He said in the dailies, it was gazetted that the last time he was in office as the immigration minister, he had made suggestion for their government to use Article 6 of the Bahamas Nationality Act to circumvent Article 9 of the Constitution.
Mm.
Article 6 of the Bahamas Nationality Act says that you can register a minor before the age of 18. But here's the problem. Article 9 in the Constitution says that a Bahamian woman who is in legitimate marriage has a child with a foreign man and the child is born outside of the country, the child has to wait until the age of 18, but before its 21st birthday.
That's correct.
So the suggestion that Fred Mitchell made is unconstitutional. See, we woke now, you know. They ain't gonna run nothing past us no more. And here's the other thing. This thing that the Prime Minister is trying to do is unconstitutional. Why? We are not a republic. In a republic, both houses can vote and a bill is passed. Right? We are a constitutional monarchy. Right? Where you need 3 signatures. Both houses and a referendum. They cannot alter Article 9 and allow Bahamian women who married foreign men to get citizenship at the time of birth outside of a referendum.
Impossible.
It can't happen. They would like to do that, right? If Professor and myself and others hadn't awoken the Bahamian people, they were going to do that, but they can't. I dare them. It will not be a law, just like the Bahamas Nationality Act, Michelle. Article 4, Article 5, Article 6, Articles 9 are not laws. Why? Because they alter entrenched laws from the referendum.
From the Constitution, you mean?
Of the Constitution, sorry. Thank you, Michelle. Of the Constitution. Article 5 that speaks to registration from the Nationality Act alters Article 7 of the Constitution. Article 9 in the Nationality Act that speaks to naturalization alters Article 4 of the Constitution. Naturalization has been expired from July 1974. In order for you to reenact Article 4 based on Article 54 of the Constitution, it has to go to a referendum. So all of these people, they keep gazetting weekly and calling them citizens, are not because we don't have a naturalization law. Secondly, the persons that they are naturalizing, right, based on Article 4 cannot be naturalized because that offer was only made to Britain and her colonies.
That's correct.
People from Hispaniola West are from French. So they fooling these people in a court of law, they lose. Why do you think they're trying to adjust all kind of immigration laws right now to bring in belongers and asylum? They cannot win. Article 54 says that Parliament cannot interfere with an entrenched law in the absence of a referendum. Lord Diplock in the 1979 Privy Council confirmed that.
So, caller, let me ask you something. Because ain't nobody disagreeing with you in this studio, right? I mean, Professor has spent the past several months going through this. But yet they got away with it, let me put it that way, for 50 years. Doing it the wrong way.
Because they were never challenged. The Bible says, submit yourself to God, resist the devil, and he will flee. We resisting the devil now. So they got to run. No one never resisted them. Let me show you something. They had a ruling on Tuesday, the 24th of July, 1979, 44 years ago, that they had to take the Bahamas Nationality Act to a referendum. They ignored a Privy Council ruling. That's when it dealt with the validity of Provision 7 of the Act. They ignored the ruling. 44 years later, they still ignore it. You think if they go back in the Privy Council now, that ruling changed? And the circumstances in the Bahamas has not changed? We have not made any amendment to our Constitution, so the ruling stands.
That's right.
The ruling stands. They trying to fool the Bahamian people for being allowed that. Being allowed that. That's a game they're running. All right? All those people they naturalized from 73 are not citizens, Bahamian people. I challenge anyone to come on your show and show me a naturalization law. We don't have one. We have a registration law. If we had a naturalization law, the deceased Jane Rooney, when he was at the Privy Council last year in July, would have been naturalized. The Privy Council would have gave a directive. They told Fred Smith that they can't help him with citizenship. The government can consider permanent residency, so why did they skip naturalization? It's registration, naturalization, permanent residency, and work permit. They went from he couldn't get citizenship to permanent residency if he did qualify. Fred Smith left there crying for a work permit. Because after the Privy Council looked at our laws, they realized that naturalization was not relevant because it had expired. And furthermore, the persons who wanted it couldn't qualify because they wasn't a part of Britain and our colonies.
That's correct.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, the caller is absolutely correct.
Speak closer to the microphone.
The caller is absolutely correct in what he said because it's constitutionally sound.
Right.
And this is why we have problems in our country and the governance of the country, because we do not follow the constitution of the law of the land. You may disagree with some things in the document. That's your business. My business is to make sure that the right information gets out to the public. Now, right now, there's a lot of crappy stuff going on in this place. And the Bahamian people are confused because the government is feeding them misinformation. They're feeding them information that is not constitutionally sound. You cannot build a country like that. It's going to hurt this country. It is hurting the country now. As the caller said, 1974, naturalization, that was for only United Kingdom and colonies. When we became independent, Jamaica was already an independent nation. It wouldn't apply to them. But in the mad rush to give out citizenship, all kind of crappy things went down. We got to go all the way back to July the 10th, 1973 and scrap out all the things that went down which are wrong. That's the only way you could change that.
Well,
Don't tell me.
I don't know when it began, Professor, but I think a big
No,
part...
it began July the 10th, 1973.
No. Let me finish my sentence. What I was going to say is I don't know when the practice of using the population of another nation to boost up your chances politically during elections started.
No, that's a different kettle of fish.
Well, no, it's not, because I dare say that this is why they continue, and when I say they, I ain't talking about one administration or the other, because it's been going on for 50 years.
Yes.
I would like to suggest that perhaps this is obviously deliberate, because every election or by-election, they seek to appease to a particular demographic.
Yes.
To say, oh, if you all vote for us, we can make you all citizens. So I would like to suggest that this is quite intentional, that they have deliberately ignored the Constitution because it is politically expedient to do so. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I accept that. I accept that. That is why the Bahamian people need to be very careful of the persons you send to do your national affairs.
Mm-hmm.
We've been very careless with that. You can have your political party, but you don't have to be the governor of the Bahamas. Two different things entirely. We're not a good judge of character when it comes to the running of our national affairs.
Character doesn't matter. I hate to say it, but character doesn't, especially when it comes to elections in this country.
Well, that is
people
because,
could care less about character.
Yeah, but then, okay, I'm not disputing that. You're correct on that. But in order, you have to go back to what the Constitution says. Now, are we going to have a nation going according to the Constitution? Or are we not going to have a nation going according to the Constitution? See, if the Bahamian people don't care about the Bahamas, and they are careless to allow political parties to put crap on them all the time, 50 years and counting, then what do we say about ourselves? What do we say to our children, all these thousands and thousands of young people who want a future in this country?
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to have? Bahamian people need to start thinking seriously. Look at what the current administration is doing to the Bahamian people. Look at the many things they've signed. We have to go through one by one, check every single one of them to see whether they're constitutionally sound. That is those that we can get a hold of. Because some of them you can't get a hold of them.
Nope.
And why is that?
So freedom of information.
Well, see, that's another thing we got to look at. Is that constitutionally sound, yes or no, to hide information from the Bahamian people? Where you're supposed to be doing business for them, you're telling them they don't need to know what their business is all about. You could handle it any way you feel like. Say anything you want to say, sign any crappy things you want to sign. And then the minister's going to jump up and say, oh, well, we signed that agreement. We have to go by that. And say, no, sir, we ain't got to go by nothing. Because Article 2 of your Constitution says any other law, whether it's UN law, American law, British law, any kind of law, which is inconsistent with this Constitution shall prevail, and the other law, to the extent of the inconsistency, shall be void.
But, Professor, we have to take a break. But that last caller said some very concerning things, because one of the things that he discussed is that there has been a ruling in the past by the Privy Council that was handed down, and yet the government of the day totally ignored it.
That's correct.
So if you're going to go to the Privy Council, which is supposed to be your last resort as it relates to the system that we have in terms of litigation, that's the last hoorah, the last resort. There's no higher court according to our system than the Privy Council. So if you're going to ignore a ruling by the Privy Council,
Notice who is doing the ignoring, Miss Malcolm? It's the government.
I get that.
So now the Bahamian people have to do something with that government. The Privy Councils are going to tell you how to deal with that.
Right.
We as Bahamians have to deal with that. That's an internal problem now.
True.
They made the ruling. There's nothing wrong with the ruling.
No.
The ruling stands. The government can't change it.
But if they continue, if they ignore even them, what's to say they're going to listen to us?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Something else will happen.
All right, we can take a break. Then we can talk about that something else.
Oh, yes.
Stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And this is Michelle Malcolm. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. We are here with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson with another edition of our Masterclass Monday shows, where we are going through the Constitution of the Bahamas and matters related thereto. We'd love to hear from you if you have a question or a comment. Here is how you can become a part of the discourse. The telephone numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272. 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 242-801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. If you haven't already done so, please like and share the show. Also streaming live on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. Look for the Global Paradigm Shift channel, all one word, no spaces, and you should be able to watch the show there live. And we're also coming to you live on Cable Bahamas channel 974. Alternatively, you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. Last but by no means least, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. All right, Professor Thompson, prior to the break, we said that on this side of the break, we were going to talk about what we can do, because if the powers that be are giving the Privy Council the middle finger, not, physically, but theoretically.
I understand the comment.
If they're giving them the middle finger, and they're supposed to be the last resort from a litigation or legal perspective, why would they listen to us? If they can tell the Privy Council to,
But let's put it this way: the Bahamian people have to chop off the finger.
Oh dear.
Have to chop it off.
I used to do that.
How do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Just look and see what's happening around the world.
Okay. What does that mean?
You see changes being made, right?
Uh-huh.
When a people see an administration or their government not acting in their best interest, they take action. We're no different from them. We have Article 24.1 in our Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
We've been sitting for 50 years plus and want to allow one or two people to do what the nation has to do collectively. Now, either we're serious about changes in our country or we're not. It will be seen by the way we behave, the way we conduct our affairs, and the way we allow others who run our affairs to get away with a lot of crap. The Bahamian people have the power in their hand to deal with any administration that runs afoul of the Constitution. Always had it, still have it, but haven't used it. That's the problem. We have not used the kind of power the Constitution gives us to deal decisively with an administration that violates the supreme law of the land. Just as simple as that. It's there for us to use. Are we afraid to use it? Or we think these personalities who continue to do all this crap for 50 years and beyond, we're to keep putting up with that? That's not going to go on for too long now. Bahamians are beginning to wake up, and I hope they stay awake, because I waited 50 years for them to wake up, And that's a long 50 years. To see a lot of foolishness, a lot of nonsense going on. And one man told me one time ago, said that's just a piece of paper. I hope his attitude would have changed.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you see the government ignoring it every day.
That is why the people have to rise up and take appropriate action to protect their interests. Article 24.1, the government of the Bahamas is not going to protect your interests. You have to do it yourself. It's just as simple as that. Are we ready for that? You notice how I tell people to get to know people in their community?
Mm-hmm.
I said that for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes the collective will of a people to bring change in your country.
Professor, with regard to that, prior to Pinling's defeat in 1992,
yeah.
Bahamian people almost were like in a trance where they didn't realize the power that they had to change a government. Now, Pinling the late Sir Lyndon Pinling was a very charismatic leader who knew how to address whether he was talking to the street sweeper or a king in the palace, he
Yes.
knew how to speak to you wherever you were at. He met you there. He didn't
At
have a
your
problem.
level.
Yeah, at your level. He
That's
didn't have a
correct.
problem walking in. You always talk with a woman and being down with 6 girls. He ain't had a problem going to a woman's house and sitting down and eating from her pot.
Of course.
He did that quite frequently. So he was able to hold on to power for 25 years.
9 months.
Okay. And oftentimes, I remember as a reporter, we would feel the temperature of the electorate, or what we thought the temperature of the electorate was. And I remember saying many times prior to 1992, boy, I don't think Finland I'm going to win this one. They gone on this one. Because there was so much apparent discontent and, people rumbling, and you could just feel it. But every election, the PLP would still win until 1992, when the unthinkable happened, when Finland was actually defeated.
Yes.
So it took 25 years for the people of the Bahamas to understand that they could actually change something as it relates to the governance of this country if they weren't happy with it. Okay, so they finally figured that out. But they have yet to figure out, if you ask me, that you don't have to wait for 5 years.
That's correct.
If the government is not, if the administration is not performing up to par.
No, you don't.
That, as far as Bahamians now act, they wait until the next election to make their voices heard.
Well, you mightn't have a voice in the next election. You mightn't be around to have to have a voice. See, we have to look at our situation as it is today. We're no different from any other persons out there in the world. All right? The thing is that the Bahamian people have to realize we have some strong tools in our arsenal that we can use. See, those other countries don't have that.
Right.
We have it, but we're playing with it. We're not using them. Our mothers and fathers fought hard to give us these tools that are entrenched in this Constitution. Are we acting like we have nothing to work with? The people in Sudan didn't have anything to work with. They're experimenting with democracy. And it's causing a lot of bloodshed in that country. And people, in fact, the country is divided in two now. Because two fellas, one take over one part, next one take over another part. Do we want that to happen in the Bahamas?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, then we have tools in our arsenal to prevent it from happening. If we do not use the tools that God has given us to have a stable country, and we just let things get out of hand, get out of control, which thing's going to happen? You go straight over the cliff. That's what's going to happen. The inevitable will happen. And it's going to be sooner than most people think, if we do not change. That's why I'm here on this radio station on Mondays, to help the Bahamian people to see that we can change things in this country, no matter what the government may say. Doesn't matter what they say. The Constitution is supreme. Whether they agree with it or not, that's their problem. And people worrying about, afraid to say this, afraid to say that. The Constitution gives you freedom of expression, and that entails a whole lot of things there. Freedom to impart ideas and opinions without interference. But you got some fellas who say they're behind the microphones, trying to impede on people. But that will be stopped too. They'll just find one day they're not there anymore. They'll be replaced.
You know what I think a part of our problem is, Professor?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure you would have heard about this experiment that took place many years ago, and involving a dog that was chained. And
Yes.
let me explain
Yes,
to our audience who may not be familiar with that experiment. But what they did was they had a dog that was chained, and the chain was only so long. And very frequently, they would get something that the dog wanted, say a favorite meal or whatever, and they would put it just beyond the reach of that chain. And so every time the dog would lunge to go get that thing, whether it's a favorite, steak or whatever,
Yes.
he would be yanked back by the chain.
Mhm.
And this happened day after day after day after day until the dog finally figured out, I can't get beyond this chain. So I don't care how much steak they put over there. It's pointless for me to try because I've already experienced so many times being yanked back by this chain, that I now understand that I could never reach that steak. And so then after they got to that point, then the persons conducting the experiment removed the chain. But the dog still didn't go after the steak.
Yes.
Because in his mind, I done been through that, I done try, I can't reach it. He doesn't realize that he's been set free from the chain. So the experiment proved that the conditioning could change the mindset. In other words, the dog is now free. The steak right there. But even he could try to go for it because he done get yanked back so many times that in his mind, the same thing is going to happen again if he tries. You think that's what's going on with our Bahamian people?
I'm glad you mentioned that, That's where your constitution comes in. You don't have any more chains. You have a constitution.
Yeah, but if our mind, we don't know that.
Yeah, but that's why, you see why I'm here every Monday?
Right.
Try to get people to understand how important this document is.
Right.
See, as long as you remain in ignorance of your constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges, you are chained. And you will do nothing about it because in your mind and your psyche, you listen to all this crap from these other personalities out there who tell you you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the next thing. Utter nonsense and foolishness. So you have to know what your constitution says. In fact, I was looking at an article the other day. In fact, it was probably yesterday or the day before. And I say, you know something, I haven't reached that far in the Constitution on this show.
Come a little closer to the mic.
I just thought about it and I said that I might mention to it, maybe not today, but another day, because I want to quote it exactly. Because, see, a lot of people are chained in their mindset.
There you go. There you go.
I'm not going to disagree with that because that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we have the tools to be free. We don't need to be chained anymore. Ain't no political personality can put any chains on you unless you let them put it on you. They can talk as much crap as they want. Because see, a fellow like me, I'm not checking for you. I'll tell you to your face, I ain't checking for you. And that's the attitude the Bahamian people have to take. When the government of the day steps out of line, you must tell them you are constitutionally wrong. And you're not listening to them, you're not going to obey them. You have every right to do it.
Constitutionally.
Constitutionally, the government of the Bahamas, the only thing that makes the government lawful is the Constitution. When they violate that Constitution, they're unlawful. So you don't have to check for them. That's what people need to understand. You have no legal authority to tell me anything. Because the very Constitution that gives you the power you have through the Bahamian people, you're doing crap. And I must still listen to you. You got to be crazy.
But Professor, human beings are very interesting creatures.
They are.
Because there's so much fear on the one hand, cowardice on the other. Bahamian people in general don't seem to understand that, number one, these people are working for you.
That's correct.
So, if anything, they should be holding your opinion in high esteem, not the other way around, where
That's
you
correct.
scared of them and you can't speak out because, oh, if I speak out, I'm going to be victimized. You all got this thing backward.
They do.
And I keep saying there is more strength in numbers.
I'm glad you mentioned. That's where Article 24.1 comes in.
So, if it's one person standing alone, yeah, they may try to intimidate that person. But all of y'all who's scared to speak out because, boy, they may take my job. If everybody stood together, they could fire everybody.
Can't.
They could victimize everybody.
Can't. And the police can't lock up everybody.
Ain't enough jail space.
They'll never have it. They won't have enough chains, what they call them, little bracelets.
But instead of them being concerned with what their bosses want,
yes,
because we the boss, we just don't seem to know we the boss.
Well, we got to take control. And the Bahamian people have been this way for too long. That's why I tell you I had to wait 50 years, just for them to wake up when Her Majesty the Queen passed. Then they start to look around to say, well, maybe there's something else that we can work with. And notice now how people talk about governing the Bahamas, but never a single word about the Constitution. What kind of governments you could bring here? Some scraps of paper with somebody write foolishness on. That's the way you're going to govern the country?
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon to both of you.
Good afternoon.
We can clearly see how the auto workers in the United States stand strong together in order to get what they wanted, and they stood it out. And now they're being benefited.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the food thing that you just mentioned is so real, because I know some people in Cuba who don't even know that they could leave, freely leave. So they're not leaving. So obviously it is something that holds their mind. But Professor, is the cooperation agreement that was made between our colonizers and us, who this Constitution, is this something that we took to them saying that we want, or is this something that they gave to us, the Constitution?
That's a good question that you asked. And I'll answer it this way. I know there was a green paper, there was a white paper, there was a lot of discussion as to what would go into that Constitution. I was involved in it, my mother and father were, and many of the people at that time prior to July the 10th, 1973. So it was a collective thing that was done by the Bahamian people. And of course, the leaders went to London. They had discussions there, and the determination was made. I hear people will tell me that it was Britain that just shove one piece of paper in front of us and say, you all have that. I don't understand that to be the case at all. Okay, I think it's disrespectful to my mother and my father, who fought hard, my grandparents before them who fought hard to give me this document that I come to talk about every Monday on this radio station. I'm not going to accept that foolishness because I know better. And as long as we keep talking nonsense and foolishness, that does not help those persons out there who are trying to get the truth, because there seems to be a big fight to stop people from learning about the Constitution, but they will not succeed. I can tell you that right off the top.
No, there's also some who believe it's a copy and paste document, because some of the other independence that was given, the document seems to read similarly.
There's no document like our document.
There's none like our document.
No, sir.
Okay.
All you do is check the preamble of the Constitution. Jamaica own is not like that. Haiti own is not like that. Those other countries are not like that. See, that's what I keep saying, sir, about misinformation.
Yeah, we
got a lot of crappy foolishness going on out there.
Yeah, we got it.
I will tell you this, caller. If you look at the men and women who were involved in that process, Only a handful of them, not even a handful are alive anymore. And most of them are gone. I think only
Loftus Roker was there.
Loftus Roker, Sir Arthur Folkes was a part of the first contingent that went over. And I believe Sir Arthur Turnquest. I think they're and Peter, what's his name? Philip Bethel.
Philip Bethel.
Yes, I think they're the last four. But if you look at the men and women who took part in that exercise, these wasn't no bunch of jokers like we see around here today, you know.
No, sir.
You are talking intelligent, well-spoken, highly educated individuals. I think we need to do better at understanding who the framers of that Constitution are.
Yes.
It'd be good to bring him on, to bring like Mr. Roker on, so he could actually let us know what they went over there with and was able to leave with coming from here versus what they say, well, this was going to be in it. I think he would be able to identify what was indigenous from us that was placed in the Constitution, because Professor don't know.
No, I'm not going to disagree with the comment that you made, because see, here's what happened. We don't have any written notes from the Founding Fathers. We don't have that. Now, I would go along with your suggestion. Let us hear what they have to say, because they just move off the scene, and they may have had reasons for so doing. But there's been a lot of crappy foolishness that is out there, and they tried to pass that off on to me, but I know better. And a lot of people out there are struggling to find the truth. What is the truth about the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas?
Yeah, see, this is why I'm the one you always talk about, who's saying that document is a fictional document, because you can't apply it. And you just made the case that it can't be applied, because if you stand up against what the Privy Council says and against the government could have their police haunt you. They could find ways to, like a Donald Trump way, to just threaten you. So obviously the document is not strong enough in the minds of Bahamian people.
See,
come closer to that microphone, Professor.
This is the kind of thing I try to get people to understand, to look at things objectively. The way how you're looking at it, that's your view. I respect that. That is not going to help the woman in Baintown with those 6 boys and the man in Foxton who got those 6 girls.
She should be able to help herself. She don't need a constitution.
No,
if she needs a constitution to help, she in trouble.
They need to know the Constitution. It's for everybody, sir.
Okay.
But if we keep that kind of mentality psych on our people, we're not helping to help educate the people. That's why I stay away from a lot of crappy talk from other people. And while you have a right to express your view, I'm not knocking you for that.
Professor, look this way, man.
But I'm just simply saying...
Yeah, talking to the microphone.
I'm just simply saying that this lack of this nonsensical information that's going out there, it's not helping the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to do better. Okay, so while I agree the caller has the right to his view, I'm not knocking that the Constitution allows people to have their views. But the views that some people express are not beneficial to the Bahamian people.
I think it goes back to the issue of conditioning. People just think
no,
that
I'm not going to knock that.
There's nothing more that they can do, and so
well, then
just go with the flow.
That's when they're wrong. That's why, and you can see in the way how people behave, even in my own community, where simple, basic, fundamental things are lacking because of the lack of character, the way how people behave, the way how they conduct themselves. And these are the same people supposed to go out to vote, But they don't have it upstairs. They don't have it in their head. The way how they live and the way how they operate day in and day out is not conducive to good governance in the country. What kind of decisions they can make? None. But you have to help them. You can't leave them in the gutter to keep doing foolishness, because what's going to happen is they could end up hating yourself or someone who belongs to you. And that doesn't make any sense. So when people are left to themselves and all they could get is a bunch of foolishness and nonsense in their head because the devil is busy, then we can't progress as a nation. And so that's why I listen carefully. See this fight between the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government? What kind of foolishness is that? And I listened to all the talk from them people who are at the port. Not a single word about the Constitution. I listened to all the talk from the government members. Not a single word about the Constitution. Where's the Constitution fit in this? We have no supreme law for free porting.
I guess not.
You see, but this is foolishness. Article 2 says very clearly, any other law that is inconsistent with this Constitution shall prevail.
Mm-hmm.
And the other law, to the extent of the inconsistency, shall be void. It's of non-effect.
We got to take a break, Professor. The music playing.
You see, we have so much that needs to be done in this place, man.
Yeah, but a big part of our problem is what we've been discussing. Mindset.
Yes, we have
mindset.
And you know, I've been through, but I didn't get through. I don't think I got all.
Let's take this break. Let's take this break.
Okay.
Hold on to that thought. Don't forget what you're going to say. Okay, we'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Stay with us. At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. with family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and onboard lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on this Masterclass Monday here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas and breaking it down for you bit by bit. And this show is pretty much focused on some utterances by our Prime Minister that Professor Thompson has taken grave exception to.
Certainly. No doubt about that.
He said the man talking fool.
Nonsense.
And you know that song say talking fool is a very serious thing.
Yes, they're right.
All right. So this is an excerpt from an article, I believe, that appeared in the Tribune that I'm about to read.
Yes.
This would have been an article that appeared shortly after the Privy Council
May 4th
handed down the ruling as it relates to
Article 6.
Okay,
Single fathers.
It says last week's landmark Privy Council citizenship ruling created the expectation that the Davis administration would soon satisfy the interests of people affected by the verdict and fulfill its long-promised plan to address other discriminatory citizenship matters. Prime Minister Philip Davis said after the ruling last month, the government will, quote, work diligently to implement the Privy Council's decision and review the existing citizenship legislation to align with this new development, end quote. However, he also, and I'm reading again from a Tribune article, however, he also reiterated the point that the identity of the father needs to be known. Quoting him again, first of all, I think we need to ensure that the daddy is the daddy and the daddy knows.
Yeah.
And the only way to know that is if you have some kind of test, and there are some presumptions as well that we need to discuss. Presumptions that if there's a birth certificate that has the father's name on it, there's the presumption that he is the father, end quote.
Yes. See now, even when he made those remarks, he was tying this in with other issues relating to the citizenship matters in the Constitution. And this is where the problem comes in, because with the single fathers, that is specifically a decision for the single mother and the single father. Okay? There is no such thing as no discriminatory practices or discriminatory legislation in the Constitution. No such thing. So that is not fair to the Bahamian people. What we have discriminatory, them same things they're passing in the House of Assembly that are unconstitutional. That's discriminatory.
But you know, the woman who is married to the foreign man and has children in the Bahamas, that foreign man would disagree with you in terms of it being discriminatory or not.
Well, he could disagree, but that's not constitutional. See, the thing is, you must give people a right to their view. See, I will never take that away from anybody, not even from the Prime Minister. But passing it off as if it's constitutional, then I got a serious problem with it. That's where I would raise the alarm. If you say that's your personal private view, I wouldn't even comment on what he said.
Right.
But it didn't come across like that. You're putting this off as if this is constitutional. It's not. And I get upset about that. Because you're misleading the public, you're misleading the nation, you're misleading the people of the Bahamas. That's not good for the Bahamian people to be misled for this period of time. I waited 50 years for them to wake up, and now we got this nonsensical thing coming on again. The Bahamian people got to rise up. And there are others out there who know better. But they are not ready and prepared to do what others like myself are doing. I'm a professor of constitutional law, but you got some who got, they say KC now, KC and QC and BC and MC and whatever else they have. But that's good if they got that kind of education. But what good is that education if it doesn't help the woman in Bain Town with 6 boys and man in Fox Hill who got 6 girls, he's trying to find husbands for them? That can't help them. That means nothing to them. Do we want this man who have these 6 girls to find responsible men that they can have a responsible family? That's constitutional. But if you just leave it wide open like how it is now, all kind of crappy things can happen. And they get into these bad relationships which cannot help to build a community. And you just have people fighting and carrying on all the time, like people I know around in my area. It's always rowing and carrying on. Not all of them now, but too many of them for that matter.
I want to read a message coming in from one of our listeners that was sent by way of WhatsApp. It says, please read my entire text carefully. It has 2 parts. Here's part 1. I understand that a Bahamian single male father's child. Hold on, I'll sit there for a second. The phone just went dead on me. Not dead, but the screen just disappeared. Let me get it back up. Okay, here it is. It says, I understand that a Bahamian single male father's child born within the Bahamas to a foreign woman is straight and automatically has citizenship. And the Privy Council straightened the Bahamian government out on that. Here's part 2. What happens if a Bahamian male or father has a child born outside the Bahamas with a foreign woman? Does the same thing apply? How does this impact a Bahamian male father's child with a foreign woman not born in the confines of the Bahamas?
That's a good question. I like those kind of questions because the Constitution answers that.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution is very specific. The foreign woman, the Bahamian man, the child born where?
Outside the Bahamas.
No, I'll deal with that part.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bahamas.
Okay.
The child born outside has a different nationality. See, wherever that child was born, the child takes on the nationality of that country. So there's no automatic there. Now, it does not mean, since the father is there, the child could apply after a period of time for citizenship. And if it is accepted, in fact, what may have happened is the child may not even be interested in being a citizen of the Bahamas. So what you can give him citizenship for. He may be quite happy. See, this is why when it talks about children born outside of the Bahamas, there's a big difference between a child born in the Bahamas and a child born outside the Bahamas.
But Professor, a lot of women say go to the United States to have their children because they feel they may get better treatment from the medical professionals for varying reasons. Even some Bahamian women have gone to the States to have their babies. So what happens in a case like that where they weren't really residing abroad? The child was born abroad, but immediately thereafter, they come back to the Bahamas.
Some people have some personal ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
That's not constitutional.
Right.
That doesn't benefit the country. The Bahamas Constitution does not recognize duality of citizenship. Period.
Okay, so let's use Sir Sidney Poitier as an example. Both his parents are Bahamian. But he was born in the United States only because at that time they were there working. His father was working in the United States. Shortly after his birth, the family moved back to Cat Island, and he grew up as a Bahamian Cat Island boy. But he was born in the United States.
Did he take out citizenship there? But he's a citizen of the United States once he's born there. The Constitution still does not recognize duality of citizenship. That doesn't change. See, I'm glad you brought that up. Because, see, what people do is they bring up situations like that, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
Right.
It's good to look at it.
Mm.
And I say to myself, is it constitutionally sound? What does the Constitution say? The Constitution does not recognize duality of citizenship, period. That's the supreme law. Now, a government can get lazy and sloppy. The authorities get lazy and sloppy. Does that change anything? The answer is no. They're just lazy and sloppy. Simple. We got to face the reality for what it is. Either we're going to have a nation that we're going to be proud of, or we want to be a doormat so people could brush their dirty feet on us, as some Cubans have done when they had the problem with the baseball thing. And they brushed their feet on the Bahamas and then went to the United States and just scoot out of here. But we want to keep being treated like a doormat for people to brush their dirty shoes on us. We got to look at something better than that. What about the future of this country? Are we going to be respected as a nation under God, under the supremacy of God? That's in the Constitution too. So there are some things you cannot accept, even though your leaders who you have now are so weak and feeble when it comes to standards. That doesn't make it right.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to correct it. Now, the Bahamian people have to make the correction as to what happens to these people who ignored the Privy Council for the last 47 years.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? That's us. That's an internal problem. And we have the tools to fix it. That's the thing.
We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
What up, Michelle?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I hope everybody's blessed. Professor.
Yeah, hey, how are you, man?
Everything good.
Okay.
Michelle, like the professor said, what is the problem with our Constitution? There's no problem, right? There's no problem with the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So who creating the problem against that? Think about it. If you have a supreme law what to go by, and somebody reading something on a piece of paper, what they created, and know what they're supposed to do if they want to make a creation of something, and they choose to read that to you as the populace, and they then know they're creating problems?
Of course.
Now listen to the audience who they talking to, because you put these people in power, you believe whatever they ordering to you. So when they tell you, say, okay, they doing this and they doing that, you sit back and you believe that, because guess what? The Constitution was a secret until it being exposed to the Bahamian people just, maybe a couple of years ago? Because I surely didn't know about it. They didn't want it to be known. So there was a lie being told. So that goes right back to deceitful people who talking to you. Especially like you ever see when it comes to, if you call the Prime Minister by his name, Brave David, some people go and say it's the Honorable Brave David. Honor what? Because they know they lying and they continue on with the lies. And even if somebody correcting the lies, they choose to make the person who telling you the truth, to make them look like, okay, this person talking utter nonsense. You have a white man in the house right now, and I say what I say. You have a white man in the house right now who is a part of the political fold, I think, on the last trip, and he leave his job to jump up to go to the United States. Now, hold on. When he come back and he was doing that dual thing, he had to denounce that and then come forward. Then he in the house now trying to put laws on me and you. I want you to sit back and think about that. The man leave his job. He leave politics, gone, and come back. They make him renounce whatever. And now they have him there, general, attorney general, whatever, the post he holding, to make laws to put on me and you. You get what I'm trying to say? That's why people, when they sit back, call us whatever, but that's another one being programmed. Meaning the populace, we being programmed. Is either you drink that water a red or you drink that water yellow. You understand what I'm trying to say? And to deprogram people, that's almost impossible. Another generation have to come up behind those who's already programmed. That's why you see, I say power is a serious thing. You have doctors who call in themselves, I talk about hard doctors who in politics right now, who refuse to leave. Something in there keeping these men, the only way they go is when they die off. And a generation who they grow up have to die off along with them. So the people behind got to come and try to change things. Because to change any law, with any one of them reciting to you, they can fight and stand up as long as you see they hold a majority. And here's another thing, and then I can let you respond to that. In which world you live in, that a party, even if their members agree or disagree with them, because their constitution tell them they can't disagree with the prime minister, they got to sit down, and we call them we have a word for that, backbenching. You get what I'm trying to say? You can't even as a citizen walk into the house to go gamble right now. God give you freedom, your own free will, and the government of the Bahamas take it from you. I don't get that. And then you sitting back and calling people honorable. Think about what I just said. They cannot challenge our government, even if what he's spewing they know is wrong, because their constitution says so. So if he's steering the ship wrongfully, even if somebody in his own party believes that, can't go to that based on what they write on a piece of paper. So what it is we voting for. And my mother and my father never do that. All they know is when election time comes, they grab newspaper, sit down, listen to the radio, and start marking the X and then pray to go at the party. There was no vision. There was just stupidity being shooting through the air. And that's what the Bahamas is running off right now. They ain't say you don't got no laws, you know. And the only way you see we look stupid is when we catch a plane, go to England, and the people in England sit back and say, well, what's wrong with these crazy people? That's why they call the island people them what they call us. I leave on that note. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling. I want to read a comment coming in on Facebook. Ken says, the Constitution of the Bahamas says, if any Bahamian male has a child out of the Bahamas with a foreign woman in a foreign country, that child is considered a Bahamian too. Tell the professor stop talking garbage. The Bahamian woman's child born in a foreign country to a foreigner is not considered a Bahamian, like the Bahamian male offspring would be considered.
But he has to bring the proof from the Constitution. If he could show it to me in the Constitution, I'll agree with him. The Constitution is supreme, not what he thinks. See, I happen to know better than him. But if he can show me, and I am prepared to be enlightened. See, I come on these shows regularly and consistently every Monday because I have a commitment to keep it. I'm simply saying, if you can show me from the Constitution, the article where I am wrong, I'm prepared to apologize. But if you can't show me the evidence in the Constitution, I'm not checking for it. Because you're talking hot air. They were saying a Bahamian woman having children anywhere in the world is a Bahamian. That's utter nonsense and foolishness, not in the Constitution. Article 6 is very specific and very clear. Point number one. Point number two, other articles in the Constitution deal with children born outside of the Bahamas, whether it's man or woman. That's the law. That's the supreme law. So, these people write these funny things. I wish they should call and show and identify themselves. You see what I'm saying to you? See, they use that and they hide behind a text and then throw rocks at the professor. But I guess you have to live with that. But the thing is that if you show me from the Constitution then I have to agree with you, because the Constitution is supreme, not what somebody say supposed to be. Because someone told me that, and I say, wait a minute now, let me go and double check and triple check and quadruple check. I can't find any article that supports that. And I know I searched long and hard. I said, maybe, you remember, Michelle, I told you at one point, I might have overlooked it. But it isn't there. But here is something that has been put into the psyche of the Bahamian people, and they believe the crap.
So Ken is responding to you on Facebook. He says, okay, Professor, I'll find the article, but time is tight right now, but I have the information for some other time. Next week, Monday, you'll be back, God willing. You got a whole week.
Yeah, you got a whole week. Tell him, I'll look up the article and bring it. And I'll be happy to apologize if I'm in error. See, the only way I will correct something, if you show me from the Constitution that I'm wrong, then I have to go along with you, because I am a believer in the Constitution. The Constitution is supreme. I will never lose any battle in any court in this country if I stand on the Constitution. That's why I got to stay with it. Let me just say this to Bahamian people. The Constitution is your salvation document for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You don't have anything else. You lose that, you lose everything. It's just as simple as that. You allow people to write crap on pieces of paper and say they can run things that way, you have no country. Everything will just be wobbled right up. And then you wonder, well, what has happened?
Well, Professor, we run out of time. Got less than a minute left. But I recently heard a public figure. I ain't got no name and I ain't taking no blame. I actually heard a public figure say very, very recently.
Yeah.
Well, you got some people running on about the Constitution this and the Constitution that. And
I know who that figure is.
I was like, okay, what you trying to say?
And this particular personality, see, I can use my expression now, has been high up in the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
That's a serious thing.
It is a serious thing. See, but I keep saying all the time, you got people like that who are discredited to this country. But yet you give them all this power to do foolishness and nonsense and talk crap.
Professor, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We got to go.
I don't know.
I want to thank you, Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson, for being here once again to help us to shed some light on this topic of the Constitution of the Bahamas.
Very important.
Boy, we got so much work to do. We've come a long way, but we still have such a long way to go.
Long way to go, yes, ma'am.
As it relates to getting the people aware of what this Constitution says, number one, and what their rights and responsibilities are.
But they're going to get it.
Number two.
You just got to keep working on it.
Got to keep working on it.
Faith without works is dead.
This is true.
You got to keep working on it.
Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Great God's grace, I'll be here.
God willing.
Yes.
If he spares our life, we will be back next week, Monday, to continue this conversation. Ken, you got till next Monday.
Tell him next Monday and tell us what the article is.
Such good not long. And then come back and let us know where you find that. And don't mix up the Constitution with the Nationality Act.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Because that's what you might be doing.
It might be.
Yeah. Anyhow, gotta go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't know yet because I ain't get 100% confirmation yet, but I hope, fingers crossed, to have one of the candidates in the upcoming election, by-election on tomorrow's show. Fingers crossed. So let's see if it happens. Until tomorrow, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. And God willing, I'll be back here tomorrow, same place, same time.
Global 99.5 FM.